Joining us from Cleveland is Chris McKinley, a former U.S. Navy SEAL and the CEO and founder of Invictus Group, LLC. Chris, thanks for coming back to us this evening once again.
My pleasure.
So, really, anybody can go and rent a truck and go and plow through a group of people if they want to. How can intelligence help to possibly prevent things like this from happening?
Well, that's probably not an intelligence issue per se. What it is having concentric rings of security. And there again, I'm speaking somewhat agnostically because I'm not on the ground there and wasn't there before the incident occurred. But from what I gather, there was a very thin line of security. And when that security dissipated to a certain extent is when that truck driver launched his attack. And in the U.S., we have multiple rings of security. One overlaps the other, and as you get closer to the source of the main attraction, those lines of security get more robust, more strong. So I don't think we really saw that here. So I think there was a very much a breakdown in the perimeter security and the devices. A truck that size carries a lot of weight, and it's sheer physics. Mass times velocity equals impact. It's hard to stop something like that once it gets rolling. Mm-hmm. Even if you shoot the driver, it's still going to roll and do a lot more damage. And I can't help thinking about the citizens there and how I would feel. I'm always armed. I utilize my Second Amendment. I always have a gun on me all the time. And I can't help but think in my mind, if some people there would have been armed besides the police officers, that maybe this truck wouldn't have rolled for a mile. And that's just where my brain goes. And how helpless would I feel if I was sitting there and couldn't defend myself or my family that was around me? It's absolutely disgusting, the scene that we're seeing there. You know, and I think we have to form a League of Nations, if you will. And even if we're with a country that has marginally been on our side, there's a saying in Arabic, and it goes like this: Adu aduya sadiki. Simply, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And we need to make some of those fringe nations our friends and bring them in for a common cause. And if they don't want to cooperate and take out ISIS and fundamental Islam on a global level, we need to cut them off from everything. The time is now. We need to shut down all social media sites. If you're contributing to that activity, it's a crime. I love this saying: political correctness forms the shackles by which radical Islamists are leading us to our own demise. And you can take that to the bank. That is what is happening right now. I think we're at the point where it's not if you see something, say something. It needs to be if you see something, do something. An educated populace, a prepared populace, is a protected and a proactive and a happy populace.
Well, Chris McKinley, former U.S. Navy SEAL, thank you once again for being with us tonight.
My pleasure.
Well, sadly, Patricia, the death toll has risen, as we've been reporting, to 84 because 4 of the critically injured have succumbed to their injuries.
And it was a horrific scene in Nice, a terrorist driving a large truck at high speed into people celebrating Bastille Day. More when we continue.